All right. I can't stand waiting on people to show up. It's not like anyone watches my live streams as I do them. Sorry for the voice. I'm obviously still sick. I also am trying a different camera setup. I want to talk about the Communications Decency Act, Section 230. Donald Trump has threatened, if he doesn't get his way, to repeal the CDA Section 230. Now, this is very funny, and I actually... Give me just a split second. I'll be right back. God almighty. Yeah, that's one of those things that I wish I would have done before I started streaming. Well, my nose was jammed up, boy. Okay. Donald Trump's threatening to repeal CDA Section 230. People are talking about 230 reform. And this topic is just so frustrating to talk about. Most of the people who discuss Section 230 don't actually understand it. They don't understand the purpose of it. They don't understand the legal wording of it. And it drives me up the wall. I'm getting real tired of hearing this notion that there's a publisher versus platform distinction. There is no such thing in the law. It would be nice if there was. But here's the thing. I don't want to see the kind of 230 reform some people are talking about. I don't think 230 needs direct reform. I think what needs to happen is platforms that have a certain size, a certain installed user base, specifically social and financial platforms, because those are the two things that you cannot start easily, that require a lot of momentum, that require a lot of things to happen pretty much by luck or through political shenanigans to actually have any effect. So what I would like to see is large platforms. Let's just arbitrarily say, because you have to set an arbitrary line somewhere, large platforms like Facebook, Reddit, and so on. Let's say platforms with at least 500,000 United States user accounts. Those platforms, I would like them to be treated as monopolies, as in they effectively control the social marketplace for their format. Because this is true. Facebook, what does Facebook do? Well, there's a certain social format there. You post things to a timeline, and other people that you friend can see things on your timeline. You can have discussion groups, sort of like internet forums, except all under the control of one giant corporation that probably doesn't care about you. In fact, certainly doesn't care about you. Reddit is sort of like Facebook groups on steroids. The whole point of Reddit is groups. But even Reddit has branched out into, there's private communications between users, and there are chats separately in Reddit, more real-time chats that I don't use, but that's not the point. Every platform is trying to become every other platform, but every platform does it a different way. The problem is they're all big enough, and they all have a unique enough format that any attempt at starting a competitor will only succeed if there is pure luck, pure incompetence on the part of the large platform, and so on. There is no way for you, Joe User, to go out and start your own social media website and beat Facebook, beat Reddit, beat YouTube. It doesn't work that way. Look at BitChute. Look at Gab, Vote, V-O-A-T, Parler, Parlay, whatever you want to call it. Look at Locals. Yes, okay, these sites have user bases. Yes, some of them are huge. Some of them are growing quite a bit. The problem is that they aren't beating YouTube or Facebook or Reddit or any of that. They're not beating them out. Yes, they have their own smaller bases. But you know what? You still kind of have to be on Reddit and have to be on Twitter, have to be on Facebook. Now, for some people, they don't. On some of these platforms, like Styx, Hex, and Hammer doesn't have to be on Facebook because nobody who follows him really cares to follow him on Facebook. He's everywhere else. But he's still on Twitter. Why hasn't he moved over to Gab exclusively? Well, because everybody's still on Twitter. That's the problem with social sites. Same problem with financial sites. The barrier to entry with financial sites is so high, you're not going to start your own bank. You can't. You're not capable. Now, when they say just start your own social platform, just start your own bank, just start your own, you can make your own Patreon clone. Well, people have done that. There was that Patreon thing, and it got shut down because they cut them off from the payment processors. Because guess what? If you run a payment platform, guess who the final boss is? Visa and MasterCard. And if they don't want you to be able to take credit cards, you can't take credit cards. So you can't start your own bank. You can't start a successful social media company without a good amount of luck and a lot of money and a lot of persistence, because social relies on momentum. And you know what? People aren't just going to follow you to this one other site. Now they have two sites to juggle. That's not how it works. It's a little different with eBay and Amazon and all that, because those things can be supplanted with other platforms that sell stuff, marketplaces like that. Like, you can go to other places to buy stuff. It's normal to go to not just Amazon, but maybe look on eBay, maybe look on Newegg, maybe look on Etsy, whatever. There are tons of different sites you can buy stuff from. And when you're buying, you're not interacting. You're handing over money and getting an object, and that's it. With social, it's different. With financial being the underpinning of being able to run any platform, those are the two things I want to see kind of fall under this monopolistic protection, where they are considered to be monopolistic enough, they are considered to control enough of whatever their respective market is, social and financial, that First Amendment protections apply to them too. As in, that thing they say where it's like, oh, they're a private corporation, they can do whatever the hell they want because they're private and it's theirs, and if you don't like it, you can start your own. No, I want that to be taken away. Now, people complain that, well, how can you be a libertarian but be for this authoritarian stance? Well, here's the thing. It's a difference between negative and positive rights. If I want to start some kind of a social platform, but I can't get it off the ground because all the other ones have all the momentum, then the other ones, well, what am I supposed to do? You can't, attack Facebook and dethrone them. You're not going to do that. Good luck. You can't take over like that. It won't work. But if you have a thing where, like the bank or Facebook, rather than saying, okay, you're a private company and you can do whatever you want, you can ban whoever you want for any reason you want, if you want to operate a social platform of a large size, you have to let everyone speak. Basically, you're required to let any comer open an account and keep their account and keep being able to reach others equally. And you can't just delete them. Now, some limited circumstances, if you have a bank and someone has used your platform to commit a crime, I totally support them not being able to use it anymore. If they have explicitly used your platform to commit an illegal act. So, other than that, other than actually committing a crime, or if someone's directly attacking your infrastructure, these kinds of things, which in and of itself is a crime. If someone launches cyber attacks against Facebook, well, do you expect their Facebook account to stay there? No. But most people aren't doing that. Most people are just trying to say their piece. So, with those narrowly tailored exceptions, I think that private corporations of large sizes that provide large social and financial platforms should have no choice but to apply the First Amendment protections to those sites. They should not be able to delete your account. They should have no choice but to leave your account up. Yes, that means that people who advocate for racism, people who advocate for pedophilia, as horrible as we may think their opinions are, we need those people to be able to speak freely so that we can point at them and laugh at them and mock them and show other people, look, little Billy, you see that guy over there? That guy's opinions are stupid, and here's why. And you have that with which to contextualize disagreement. But when you shut these people up, you make them go, as you've seen, they go to other services. They scatter around. Now, Gab's the white supremacist Twitter. Well, not really, but Why was it given that reputation? Sorry. It was given that reputation because there are some people who do not like it. There are people who wanted to say their piece on like Reddit, got banned, moved away, left the platform, because what were they going to do? They can't express their views there because they have bad views, so let's silence them, which is the wrong approach. You need to let them speak and then mock them. The best way to deal with bad ideas is to let them be aired out and then explain why they're garbage, not to make them scuttle and go to separate darker corners where they're harder to watch, where they're harder to see what's going on. Same arguments against, like, say, Backpage and the prostitution thing. Congress went after them. They passed SESTA, FOSTA, which are really bad laws, to get Backpage to go away. But it turned out Backpage, with all their prostitution ads, was actually one of the main sources of law enforcement being able to find people who were in legitimate human trafficking situations, who were legitimately sort of modern-day enslavement into the sex trade, and track them down and free them. Then they got rid of Backpage. Now all the pimps are advertising somewhere else. Way to go, idiots. That went really well, didn't it? So I can't make all the arguments for the libertarian philosophy here, but the point is, a huge platform should not be able to deplatform people. If you want to operate a large platform in the social or financial space, you should be forced to accept all comers and let them say what they want, and you should not be allowed to simply delete them. Now, how do you reconcile this with the libertarian philosophy? And I think I kind of faltered earlier. My head kind of went somewhere else. But how do you reconcile this against the libertarian philosophy that if you operate a private corporation, that you should be able to do whatever you want? Well, first of all, we don't operate in pure capitalism anymore. Capitalism doesn't exist in the United States. The United States has what I call corporatism. I'm sure that's an official term, but my definition for corporatism is basically capitalism that's been perverted in such a way that through regulations, through nepotism, through backroom connections with political leaders and powerful people, large corporations largely say how things go in the country rather than the people. The people are only given the illusion of any kind of control, and it's not capitalist when large corporations can place regulatory barriers to competition and so on. So if we're going to operate in that environment, if we're not going to be free, well, that's my problem, is we shouldn't operate in that environment. This restores some of that freedom, because if you don't let Facebook delete, let's just say Richard Spencer, the alt-right dude. If you don't let Facebook delete Richard Spencer's account, if you let him spew his rhetoric, which I don't know a lot about it because, frankly, I just don't listen to the guy, but if you let him say his piece on Facebook, if you can't just bump him off because his ideas are bad, you avoid all these network effects where now he goes other places, now he's become the forbidden fruit. That increases the attractiveness of his ideology, to other people, especially vulnerable people, because it's like, well, why is this guy being silenced? He's interesting because he's being silenced. What is it you don't want me to hear? People find that stuff fascinating. When I was in high school and the Columbine stuff happened, I really got into reading and learning about bomb making and that kind of stuff, the whole anarchist cookbook thing. I was very interested. I didn't want to blow anything up, but I was interested in learning about it. And the reason I was interested in learning about it was not because I intended to do anything bad. It was because I wasn't supposed to know about it. It was because it was a bad thing. It was something that, people legitimately were, at one point in this country, like if you went to a library and you checked out the anarchist cookbook, like the actual hardcover book when the original one came out, if you checked this out, then you suddenly instantly became sort of a target for policing. Suddenly, by checking out this book, and whether you even read it or not, just by checking out a book at a library, you became a subject of interest for authorities. And this forbidden fruit thing, it applies to anything. So to avoid those horrible network effects where you make bad ideas very attractive to people because they are seductive, because, oh, they're naughty, you're not supposed to know about this, we're just going to hide it from you. You let them say their piece. As horrible as it might feel at the time, as bad as it might make you feel, as much as it might hurt your feelings, you let them be stupid. It's kind of like the, what is the name of the Westboro Baptist Church, the God Hates Fags people, the people that show up at soldiers' funerals with all kinds of signs that say horrible, reprehensible things. You know, if they're out there, you have to just let them picket. If they're on public land and so on. The internet has to be the same way, because as despicable as these people are, let's be honest, they're in the minority. And if they weren't in the minority, this wouldn't be a problem. If the majority of people really were racist, white supremacist, or just zealots in some way, this wouldn't be an issue, because it would be what society thought. And last I checked, there was a time where racism was required. It was expected. If you weren't at least playing the game, like especially in the American South in the early to mid-1900s, if you didn't refer to black people using particular slurs, if you didn't treat them a certain way in public in view of other people, you were different and you were bad. We're not in that time anymore. We are now in a time that has completely flipped. Anyway, I've gotten a bit off topic. The whole point is, with CDA Section 230, Trump can't unilaterally repeal it. He just can't. He can't do that. The president can't repeal a law. To repeal a law, someone has to actually pass another law that repeals the law. The president can't repeal a law through executive order, end of story. Section 230 is not going anywhere with a unilateral action on the president's part, but it doesn't need to. We need to leave 230 in place, because all 230 really does, if you've read the law, what 230 does is it says that people can't come after you with First Amendment lawsuits for deleting content. Now, you might have to tailor that a bit. 230 might be the place to put what I'm suggesting, because here's the other side of the equation. If I start a social site and I have 5,000 users, if I have like a forum, I have 5,000 users, like say I run the county forum, bulletin board system, whatever, discussion boards for whatever county I live in, and it's a small county, has like 30,000 people, and maybe 5,000 of them are on the board maximum. That shouldn't be subject to the same First Amendment prohibition against deleting accounts as a huge site. When you're small and you don't control a lot of the space, it doesn't matter. Like, it would be a lot easier for someone in a county who's like, I'm sick of this forum and the moderator. You're sick of this moderator. Let's go start another one. And if enough people really are sick of it, then the momentum will move. That's part of how Facebook overtook MySpace. MySpace sucked. MySpace was a cluster. It was bad. Like, people made horrible messes of their pages. It was clunky, and there wasn't really much to be done about it, whereas Facebook was trendy and cool, and all the college kids got in on it, and it was this exclusive college-y thing. College has a tendency, to kind of glue. People tend to stick together in college. Like, other college people are different than the townies, the people that aren't going to the school. So Facebook got a seed in colleges and then spread out because MySpace was so bad that once Facebook opened up the doors, it was better. And all these college kids were already on it, and college kids have really, they run their mouth about trends and cool stuff and all that, so it spreads pretty quick once they're telling everyone about it. And MySpace was garbage. If I'm running a small site in a small county, running small discussion board, and I'm trying to overtake the big discussion board, which is still small, and the other guy really is doing a bad job, it'll be pretty easy for me to overtake him. All it takes is a little bit of social clout and a little bit of work, and you can easily do that. You cannot do that on a national scale. You just can't. You're not going to overtake Facebook. Good luck. The only reason Facebook won over MySpace is because MySpace was just that bad, and Facebook had a niche and then became more general, and MySpace died. But notice that we're talking about, I think, the late 2000s. Facebook just started destroying MySpace. And then here we are in 2020, at the end of 2020. Facebook is still the dominating website. Over 10 years later, Facebook is still like the dominant social platform that everyone's on. So what happened? What happened in those 10 years? Why has nobody really beaten it? It's because they have a monopoly. It's because it's social, because it doesn't work that way. Anyway, I've rambled a bit. I've talked about a bunch of wacky things. I think at this point, I'll probably just shut it down, because the bottom line is Section 230, Trump can't repeal it. It doesn't need to be repealed, but it does need to be tuned to where large platforms that are in the financial and social space can't get rid of people unless they've done something illegal. And small platforms still need to be able to control their stuff. And that's basically it. And I think I've said it like 100 times. I don't think anybody's even really watching right now. So I might just do a dance or something, because I can. Okay, I feel stupid. I'll see you later. Take care. Thanks for watching, listening, whatever it is.